Hello and welcome to episode 43 of IOnTheTigers, a podcast all about the National Ice Hockey League, but one that always has an eye on the Telford Tigers. It's playoffs, there are final four places up for grabs, let's just get straight into it. So we're going to start with Group A. So just a quick recap, Group A featured Leeds Knights, Hull Seahawks, Peterborough Phantoms and the Bees. As I said last week, Knights were basically there, and it was all to play for between the Phantoms and the Seahawks. So let's jump straight into the results. So in terms of results, let's do the Leeds games first. They won 7-3 at home on Saturday night, so that mathematically secured their spot. And then on the Sunday night, they travelled to the Bees and won that one 5-3. The big clash, though, was between the Phantoms and the Seahawks. And on the Saturday night, it was a close game. It finished 5-5. It went to overtime, and the Phantoms won it in overtime. And that was good enough to secure their place at the Final Four. Sunday's game still had to be played, of course, but it had no impact on who was going to Coventry. And the Phantoms were at home but lost 7-4 to the Seahawks. So, Group A finished with the Leeds Knights, perhaps unsurprisingly, topping the group. They won 5, and the game that they lost, they still managed to pick up a point, so they got 11 points. Phantoms on 8, Seahawks on 7 points, and the Bees did not register a point. So, Leeds take top spot, and Peterborough takes second. Who will they be playing, though, in the semi-finals at Coventry is the big question, because Group B, it was all up for grabs. As a quick reminder, going into the final weekend of the playoff round in the group stage, Tigers led the way on 6 points, with Swindon on 5, Raiders on 4, and Lightning on 3. Anybody could still qualify. So, let's kick off on Saturday night. Lightning at home to the Raiders. They won 7-3. Meanwhile, Swindon hosted the Tigers and they won 6-1. That put the Raiders out. There was now no way that the Raiders could qualify. Tigers, I kind of feel they were just outworked, really, in the first period. That was kind of good enough. Wildcats got into 3-0 lead, a couple of late goals towards the end of the second period. Yeah, fully deserved the win. So Sunday night, Swindon are now going to Coventry regardless of what happens. Raiders are not going to Coventry regardless of what happens. It's all to play for between the Lightning and the Tigers. Win for the Tigers, they're guaranteed to be going to Coventry. They lose, they still could go to Coventry. There were lots of permutations, basically, in terms of what could happen. But the key thing was to get a win. And boy, oh boy, did the Tigers manage that. 9-3 over Swindon. Comprehensive victory, came out of the blocks, fully on fire, took control of the game right from the off. And yeah, it was just an outstanding performance. Got into a 3-0 lead by the end of the first. Second, goals were being swapped, and then a couple more right towards the end. Game notable for perhaps a couple of things. So first is there's a little, ceremony or presentation for Tom Watkins with regards to this being the end of the testimonial year. So there's just a little overview and recap of his career at the Tigers and all that he has done for the Tigers. So again, I know I've said it before, but a massive thanks to Tom for all the work that has gone into the Tigers over the years. And second notable point being quite apt, is an assist from Scott McKenzie last night. Took him up to 488 assists for the Tigers to put him into the number one spot for the number of assists with the Tigers. Tom's number 20 has been retired. You kind of get the feeling that Scott McKenzie's number 77 is going to be retired when indeed he does hang them up. Please not too soon, though. That would be the only ask there. So yeah, comprehensive win there for the Tigers, which actually made the result in the Raiders Lightning game immaterial. But, just to say that the Raiders even did win that one 5-3. So Group B finished Tigers topping the table on 8 points, Wildcats second on 7 points, Raiders in third place with 6 points, and Lightning in fourth place with 5 points. A very tight group, I think, as perhaps a fair few people had anticipated, but perhaps not the two who qualified that was widely expected. I, for one, thought that the Wildcats would top the group with Lightning in second. Needless to say, I'm very happy to have been proved wrong there. So, in terms of semi-finals on the upcoming weekend, Leeds and Swindon will kick us off. Leeds the winners of Group A and Swindon as the runners-up of Group B. They'll kick us off. And then the Tigers will take on the Phantoms. Two really interesting looking matchups between two teams for both semi-finals. This is between two teams that I think are really well matched. I think the Leeds Swindon game, I don't know what to expect. I mean, they played out a game where there was just one goal. They played out games where there's been like 16 goals. Kind of anything could happen. To make a prediction, I think that the Knights will win that one, possibly being separated in overtime. In terms of the second semi-final, Tigers against Phantoms, again, another really interesting matchup, I think. I've done a lot of talking the Tigers down, and they seem to prove me wrong over the course of the playoffs, but I do think that this is a game that the Tigers can and will win, which is going to set up a Knights v Tigers final on the Sunday. And that's good as I see it getting for the Tigers. I think the Knights will win that one and indeed win the playoffs. So there's my predictions for the upcoming weekend. As always, get in contact, leave a comment, let me know what you think, share your predictions with me. I'll be back next week. Bye for now.